Why, hello there.
I'm Leslie Martin. I'm currently a rigging artist at Mainframe Entertainment. I used to be a technical artist at MPC, and then I went to Sony for character effects. And those are both cloth, hair, fur simulation. And then I went into rigging at Mainframe, which is putting the bones in so the characters can move properly.
Nice. So, expanding on that a little bit, for the uninitiated, what is a rigging artist exactly? You mentioned something about bones.
Yes, so the modeling department gives us a model, and it's stationary. Like you can move the vertices, which are the points that make up the model, but it won't bend like an anatomically correct model. If I got a hand model, I could grab the whole hand and move it, but I couldn't make it bend and twist and stuff. So what we do is we use code to put the bones in. We use Python to build the structure, and then we skin it, which is assigning the weights from the vertices to which bone they're going to follow. So then when the animator wants to rotate this joint, the thumb will rotate.
Nice. So you put all these controls in so that the animator doesn't have to worry so much about like how it works. They can just puppeteer it, and you're the one behind the scenes making all that happen. So how exactly, because that's a very niche part of the animation or VFX pipeline, how did you end up in rigging as opposed to any other part of the animation pipeline?
Well, I went to school for animation, and I learned that everyone hates rigging, and since I'm contrary, I decided to like rigging. But for real though, I was taking animation classes, and originally I went for modeling, and I was like, I'm going to be a modeler, this is going to be great. And then I started modeling, and I was like, well, this is fun, but it's not my favorite. And then I went into animation classes, and I was like, this sucks. And then I went to learn to rigging, and then I went into the rigging class, and I was like, this is so much fun. It's just like building a robot in the computer. And when I was little, I loved robotics. I still love robotics, actually. But like when I was little, if I didn't get a sparkly card and a robotics kit on my birthday every year, like it was not a fun birthday for anyone involved. So yeah, I've always loved robotics, but I haven't really loved like the in-person building of it, I guess, because all the wires and stuff is weird. But then like with rigging, it's the same thing, but you have code to do all the wiring, and you don't have to deal with the in-person aspect of it. And if you cross a wire, it doesn't short out the entire board. You can just rebuild it from the start.
Less risk of life and limb involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I never thought of it as like an extension of robotics or Connects or something like that. But
it's pretty much that, but in the computer.
Nice. That is really cool. Now, and what do you think it takes to make a great rigging artist? Is it just someone who loves robots, or is there a bit more involved there?
There's a lot of anatomy involved, and there's a lot of art involved as well, because you have to like be able to visualize where the joints are going to go, and you have to be able to visualize when it is going to be animated, how is it going to bend, and how is the positioning of this joint going to affect the bend on that joint. So when I well, actually now still my parents are both alive, but my dad is a doctor and my mom is an artist. So when I was growing up, I had the artistic input from my mom and the anatomical input from my dad, and I guess that just sort of fused to make me into what I am now. Because I always wanted to be an artist, but I also was really interested in what Dad did. So artistic anatomy is pretty much what rigging is.
And even though you said like your experiences learning animation didn't really resonate with you, I think they may have been really vital, because as you're building this skeleton, like you have to know how they're gonna want to move it.
Yeah, definitely. If you are an animator but you can't speak rigging and you ask a rigging artist to make it move a certain way, it's not going to go very well, because the rigging artist is going to have all these technical terms and the animator has all their technical terms, and they do not match up. So especially for rigging artists, when you're making something for the animators, you have to be able to speak animator. Like, it's sort of different languages, but you have to be able to translate at least. Yeah, so at a previous studio, we were working on these assets that we had to send back, like the entire group of assets, because all of the topology on them was not very great for what we needed to do with it. So if you're in modeling, you have to know what the departments down the line are going to be doing with your model, and you have to be able to make it so that the edge flow and the topology match up with what they need it to do. So like if you get a hand rig, for example, and it's all like got stars, which is when more than 4 polygons meet at like areas of high deformation. So like if you have a star right on the knuckle, that's not going to be great, because then when you bend it, it's going to have all of these different facets, which are like the flat shapes that are going to show through, and you don't want that. You want it to look like a nice smooth bend. So you need to have like consistent edge loops around it that are just circular. And if you have like weird things going off on weird shapes, then it's not going to look great. It's really hard to work with.
Yeah. So as a specialist, it's important not just to know your trade, but to know every single other person that's going to connect with what you're doing.
Yes. Not necessarily every single other person, because like texturing can do whatever they do, and what we do affects them and what they do affects us, but not nearly as much as like modeling to animation. It's the ones you work really close with that you have to know how to talk to them.
Gotcha. Neat. Well, thank you so much. Unless you have any final words for us, I think this has been fantastic.
No problem. I don't think I have any awesome parting words, but
those were awesome parting words. Awesome.
Follow your passion.
Yes. If people want to connect with you, if people want to connect with you, where can they find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. In your connection message, just tell me you found me through the video. If I don't know you and you don't put that message in, I might not connect with you, just because I do like to know where people are coming from.
Mm-hmm. Totally
unless
fair.
you're a recruiter, then I'll always connect with you.
Awesome.
But yeah, if you're a normal people person, then be sure to put like where you found me so that I will connect with you. I think my LinkedIn URL is LEMartin3, like LEMARTIN 3, number 3.
Yep. And just make sure it's the Leslie Martin who is a rigger and worked at MVC and mainframe and all that stuff.
You've probably got the coolest one.
The coolest one, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
Awesome.
Hey, thanks for watching that video. If you liked what you saw, give us a like. If you didn't, don't. Head on over to thehungrycreatures.com for more episodes, short films, or to sign up for our free magazine. Catchphrase.